Frankfurt, Alemania. Estamos a finales de septiembre, de modo que el frío ya empieza a llegar por estos lares y con él, lógicamente, también la oscuridad. Y hablando sobre la oscuridad, lo primero que he pensado al salir de mi hotel a eso de las 8:30 de la noche fue qué oscuro parece esto. Y es que algunas calles están ciertamente algo más iluminadas que otras. Estas son céntricas. En particular, algunas directamente no tienen ni una sola farola encendida, de modo que empecé a preguntarme qué es lo que sucede aquí en Alemania y lógicamente ya tengo la respuesta. A partir del día 1 de septiembre, el gobierno de Alemania ha tomado la decisión de apagar, entre otras muchas medidas para ahorrar energía, apagar la iluminación de todas aquellas vallas publicitarias y edificios cuya iluminación llevaba tan solo carácter decorativo, de modo que, como podéis observar, hasta el Banco Central Europeo, que tengo justo detrás, se ha solidarizado con esta iniciativa de ahorro, de modo que lo primero que vamos a preguntarles a los que viven aquí en Frankfurt es qué les parece esta medida, así como las demás medidas tomadas por el gobierno alemán para ahorrar energía en invierno. I would like to know, what do you think about the measurements of German government to spare energy, to save energy?
Wow. Oh, wow.
I mean, are you okay with them? You think it's a good thing? No?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. I don't know. I can't say so much about this because
Yeah, but you know that the German government has decided,
yeah,
like...
that's bullshit. What they do is fucking bullshit. But I'm not. Was heißt denn verbunden damit? I'm not.
Yeah, you're not familiar.
I'm not familiar with this cause.
Yeah, but...
I live anywhere and other people pay for me the gas, the energy.
Okay.
And I pay 30 euros in the month, and then it doesn't matter. It's too much. I think it's really too much for this what is, but no, I can't say any really good thing about this. So.
And you?
I would say they try, you know, but all the UN countries, I heard that they don't do so much about green politics, and but I hope for the best. You know.
You hope, but I mean, you're okay with the fact that there are less lights on the streets and.
I mean, yeah, save energy, you know. It's good they try, at least, you know. Saving a bit of energy is a bit of energy, you know.
Yeah.
And less gas usage is hard, but for a good reason, you know. So
Yeah.
I hope they will do it.
Thank
Good.
you a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
What could you tell me about your opinion about this saving energy measurements of the German government?
That's too difficult.
I mean, are you okay with it or not, or what do you think?
Okay, I think it took a lot of time when I tried to answer the question.
Yeah, but I mean,
Sorry.
Are they good or
sorry.
not? Thank you. What do you think about the general situation with the sanctions?
I think that it's not our fault that all of this are happening. So why we should have all this situation into our lives? Because someone else decides about whatever war in Ukraine or every crisis or every virus or whatever. So my opinion is, why am I living this thing? Yeah.
And you? What do you think?
Mein Englisch ist nicht so gut.
Yeah, she's speaking better German.
Okay. So, was denkst du über die Situation mit den Sanktionen? Meine Deutsch ist nicht
Ja.
sehr gut auch.
Ich weiß nicht genau. Ich hoffe für eine Veränderung. So,
Eine Veränderung
ja. Vielleicht.
im Winter.
Vielleicht ja diese Energiekrise, besonders am Weihnachtszeit. Ja, es ist schlimm. Und, ja.
Dankeschön. So I just would like to know your opinion about the measurements of the German government focused on saving energy.
Right. I am of the opinion that in the current situation, the measures taken by the German government are going in the right direction because it is of utmost importance to show the support for our neighbors to the east. And if that means that some people have to either pay more for their energy or restrain their use of energy, then that is something that's worth doing. Secondly, Germany being the largest economy in the European Union, it's important that the industry continues to be able to produce, and for that the industry needs to have access to energy, probably even as a priority, rather than people having to be able to heat their homes the way they have done in the past, to high temperatures and so on.
And what do you think about the fact that we are doing it for Ukraine and not, for example, for Yugoslavia or Iraq or Afghanistan or any
Well,
other country? Or
let's put it
Armenia?
this way. Let's
Now-
put it this way. The Yugoslavian wars are 25 years ago, so it was a different world at that time. The Middle East, well, that's why it's called that, is much further away than the Ukraine. The Ukraine is only one country away from Germany, separated by Poland, which is already part of NATO and part of the European Union. And so I would certainly say to somebody here in the center of Europe, this is much closer and should be even more of a motivation.
Yeah, and so what do you think about this, like Polish, German, not agreements about the Second World War? Poland now wants Germany to pay.
Poland is repeatedly trying to get the Germans to pay for something, and that has been so long ago, and Germany has done quite a lot in the European Union.
It's not really about humanitarian.
No, of course not.
aid. It's just because Ukraine is like close, like Yugoslavia, but that was like.
Well,
24 years ago.
Yugoslavia was also covered by the Europeans in various ways. And so I wouldn't say that there wasn't any support for Yugoslavia. I mean, a large chunk of what used to be Yugoslavia is now part of the European Union, some of them even part of the Eurozone.
Ukraine neither, not NATO nor European Union. So why? I mean, we are paying for.
Yeah, but that
Ukraine.
doesn't matter. I mean, it is around the corner. They are currently trying to keep up a democratically elected government, and I don't see why this isn't worth supporting.
Only one last question. Do
Please.
you know about the Donbass region and what happened there?
Well, it's probably a bit too far to say I know about it. I know where it is. I have been in the area. I've traveled there for business reasons. And
Which
I
region?
I have been to Kharkiv for business reasons.
Okay.
And that is, as you are fully aware, right next to the Donbass. And in the past, maybe the Ukrainian government hasn't necessarily done all it could have to integrate the Ukrainian society. I would say right now what we see in the Ukraine is very much an integrated society,
In
given
Donbass
the most
also.
recent developments. I don't really have an opinion on the Donbass because the Donbass has been under the direct influence of Russia for the past, 8 years plus, right? And so that's difficult to say.
Thank you. That
You're
was
welcome.
really interesting. Really, thank you. Que sepáis que este tío me ha encantado especialmente porque es, yo creo que la primera vez que alguien tan abiertamente quiere hablar tanto de algo y tiene una postura tan clara, aunque, pues bueno, yo le he hecho algunas preguntas que me han parecido pertinentes, pero ha estado ahí, o sea, este es el sentido de este habla el pueblo, ¿no? No sé, me parece, estoy muy orgullosa de lo que acabo de vivir con él. Es que además nos hemos caído muy bien. Me ha preguntado, ¿realmente eres de España? No sé, me ha parecido sencillamente genial. Seguimos con las entrevistas, que está costando bastante obtenerlas, pero esto es lo genial. Yo no corto estas cosas aunque os parezca que sí. Una persona ha hablado conmigo y tal cual, ahí va. Hey, don't worry.
I think I'm too drunk for this. I'm sorry.
No, thank you. Yeah, it was honest at least. What do you think, just your opinion, about the measurements for safe energy of the German government? Are you okay with them or not?
Difficult question.
Just your opinion.
So at the moment, no, I'm really scared about the future. So I don't know exactly what will happen or what they will decide for December, January, February. So I don't know exactly. I'm a little bit scared. So I'm just waiting what will happen in the next weeks and in the next month. So I cannot imagine what will happen. So I don't know.
What do you think about the measurements of the German government for trying to save energy?
I do not agree with the measurements they're taking right now.
Why?
Because I feel like the financial burden is on the people who are not able to take it. So, yeah, it should be distributed in another way.
And, I mean, do you have maybe any suggestion what should they do?
Well, they should take the money from the energy companies that make a lot of money right now and then distribute it to the other companies that need the money and not take it from the people.
Okay. Thank you a lot. What do you think about the measurements of the German government?
My personal
saving
opinion is
energy?
that they're good and they're necessary, but I think most of the people in Germany, they haven't even recognized, and most of the people don't think about, and it will be 1 month or 2 months when it will get cold, most of the people will recognize, and I think there will be a lot of demonstrations and protests.
What do you think about the measurements of the German government regarding this energy safe?
I think that they obviously are kind of necessary because we have an energy crisis and energy is getting a lot more expensive for a lot of people. So saving the energy and also doing it for the environment is very important.
Sé que va a haber muchísima gente que muy probablemente ponga mis palabras en duda, pero de verdad que sí. Esto es Frankfurt, es la plaza central de la ciudad y aquí sí podéis ver que ya están en funcionamiento esas medidas de apagar las luces de los edificios que las tenían en principio como decorativas, y este es el resultado de una parte de las medidas tomadas por el gobierno de Alemania para ahorrar electricidad. What do you think about the measurements of the German government for saving energy?
For saving energy. So I think it's very important to save energy, and I think it's difficult and multifaceted. So giving simple questions to this complex problem we face in Europe in general at the moment, I think our government is doing a good job and trying to help people that need the money the most, and not just like directing government money towards everyone, which has been the case, I think, with some measurements in the beginning. I think they try their best. Still, it's difficult in the government because in the government, different parties have different opinions. So it will be difficult. Yeah.
But do you think they are necessary or not?
Yeah, I think they're necessary.
What do you think about
I
the-
think that there's something
measurements?
that, yeah, I think there's something that everyone can do. We don't have the bathroom floor heating in our bathroom, let's say, and I'm not bothered by it because I can manage without it. So to save energy, to be more reasonable with the consumption, the consumerism is crazy anyway. So I think that every person can consume less, can manage with less if there's tough times. I don't find it to be a problem at all.
So you think it's a good stuff?
Yeah, of course. If there's only so much resources, the world is where it is, then we all have to, like they say, it's better million people making a little effort than, 10 people going crazy with not consuming anything. We all have to put in a little effort, and then there's some kind of a outcome from that.
Saving energy in general is a good thing in general, but that has not to depend on any wars and all these interactions. So that should be separated. Saving energy should not be linked to making war or not, sending weapons, etc., etc. This is two different things, and they are too much connected. So that's one very basic thing I think of.
And what do you think about the sanctions in general?
Well, I think the country itself should think about their energy concept, and they are running into a wrong direction for sure, and little part of it is the war and our dependence on getting gas and not and stuff, but countries have to, how should I place this? They should have their energy concept, and this is specifically in Germany, this is missing for a couple years. It is not a thing right now, it's years back. They mismanaged this. That's what I say for tonight.
Really interesting. Thank you. Could you, maybe, your opinion?
No, I'm not from here, so...
But you are from Germany?
Yes, from Munich.
Yes. So, I mean, the measurements are for all the Germans.
Yes, this is right. And in Munich we reduce the lights, for example, in the light for important buildings, but this is the first step. Yes, they reduce the light after midnight, I think, so it's not necessary to have light from midnight to for the next morning. No, I like these rules now, but it's we have to do more, and not only to save lights or energy, we have to think about the whole concept, the economic concept. So I have a son with 16 years, and they have very good ideas, the young people, to save energy. We are old, old generation. For us it's normal, but I listen always to my son. He has many ideas to save energy, to change, and he said, Mama, it takes time, the next years will be changing. The world will change. About this war, the start, and economic and many things. And he told me, be quiet and wait.
Energy concept in Germany these days and years back is led by ideologists. They are far off from the reality, and that is where one should look into and start from there. And then you may think of war and stuff, and this is terrible. We don't need to talk about this. But then you can look into wars and other things, but first look into your own energy concept, led by, as I said, I will not repeat this, for sure. I'm not happy with that, I can tell you. And there may be a difference between cities and countrysides, but when you switch off light, I mean, this is storytelling. When you switch off lights, at least in cities, when they get dark, you and me and we and you and you and you, we don't want to go home like that. Others may, but not those who pay the role, right?
Yes, but I I think the important buildings like church or the parliament without light is okay. Yes, on the streets.
Yes,
it's,
that may
necessary
be true.
to have
But what
light,
they are
yes.
telling is you have to live like this and like that, and I mean this is bullshit. Sorry. Yeah. You can take a cold shower. Yeah, but I'm missing a concept there, right? Germany is distributing the gas to like Czech Republic, France, Italy, Switzerland, and who else? So if you would cut all the distributions, there's enough gas for the Germans. But then we don't need the gas from, you know, if you keep the gas from Belgium, from Norway, in Germany, and don't follow your distribution Verträge, was heißt das? Contract, right? If you just cut them, there is enough gas in Germany, right? But then, what is the point is that when you stop delivering it to the other countries, they will not be our friends anymore. So who is laughing? It's US, it's Russia, it's India, it's China. They are laughing. Yes, go ahead. That's good. Just destroy the strong Europeans. Yes. Here we go.
That's really interesting point. Really, I love that.
I mean, there is much to say.